Good morning, boys and girls. Welcome back to Grandma Reads. Today we're going to read a story called Louise's Prayer. And this is a true story, and Louise is today a missionary on a foreign field. Louise loved to sing about Jesus. On this particular morning, she was singing about him before she was even out of bed. Mother called to her little 3-year-old girl, "Louise, hurry and get dressed, because breakfast will soon be ready." Louise found her shoes and began the long struggle of lacing the worn strings. As she looked at her shoes, she noticed her blue stocking sticking out through the big hole in the toe of the shoe and thought again how badly she needed a new pair. Her father was a young minister of the gospel and was living on a very meager salary. So, the new work, so recently begun in that little town in Kansas, might advance. The small group of believers were faithful in bringing them food. There was an abundance of milk and eggs, and often there was a chicken to fry. But there were no funds for clothing and haircuts, not even for toothpaste. Louise had worn the same pair of shoes all summer long, and when October came, they were in bad condition. "Perhaps Daddy will help me," she thought, and when she found him, she looked up into his face and said, "Daddy, I need a new pair of shoes. Can't you buy me some?" Mother was standing close by, and both knelt by the little girl and drew her into their arms. "Daddy knows you need new shoes, honey, but Daddy has no money, not even a penny. You will just have to ask Jesus for shoes." Breakfast was on the table now, so they all sat down, and soon the shoes were forgotten as they busily talked on other things. Late in the afternoon, Louise was in the bedroom. Mother thought she was playing with her dolls, until she heard her talking. Calling her husband, they crept near the door to hear what she was saying. They saw the little girl leaning against the bed with her hands clasped, eyes closed and head bowed, and this was what she was saying. "Dear Jesus, I need new shoes. Won't you give me some?" "All right. Well, when you give them to me, I would like to have them by Sunday. Okay? I'll wait." With tears in their eyes, Daddy and Mother hurried into the kitchen. Louise said nothing about her prayer to anyone, and that night she went to bed, casting every care and anxiety upon Him who loved her and gave Himself for her. She slept peacefully, confident that Jesus would not disappoint her. The next day was Saturday, and Mother took her little daughter to call on Mrs. Kent. The child was playing about the room when Mrs. Kent said to her, "Why, Louise, you need some new shoes, don't you?" She looked up into Mrs. Kent's face and said, "Yes, and Jesus is going to give me some by Sunday." The lady's heart was deeply touched, and she urged the child's mother to permit her to take Louise to the store where she bought her a new pair of shoes. Later in the day, Mrs. Kent was relating the incident to a friend of hers. This friend had a daughter just a little older than Louise. When Mrs. Harsman heard about this need, she promptly said, "Why, my little girl has outgrown a pair of white kid boots, which are just as good as new, and Louise might as well have them." So, by Sunday, Louise had 2 pairs of fine shoes, and her eyes were sparkling and her heart flooded with joy. Can't you see her with her golden curls shining, all dressed for Sunday school in her new kid boots? If you were to ask Louise today where she got her shoes, she would gladly tell you that Jesus gave them to her because she needed them and asked Him for them. Do you have as much faith in prayer as Louise? Truly God shall supply all our need.